When discussing hair transplants, one topic that often dominates the conversation is the cost of hair transplant. The cost of hair transplant in India. And it is very common for patients to seek out the cheapest solution to their hair loss problems and compare clinics and even doctors based on the price of hair transplant. For in a consumer-driven society, everything at the end of the day translates to cost. When we go shopping, we shop for two types of things, broadly speaking. A commodity like a refrigerator, or a service like an expert architect to design your upcoming home. And in our case, more pertinent, the services of a hair transplant doctor. Whereas when you go shopping for a refrigerator, the cost of the refrigerator is standardized. The company makes the same refrigerator available at more or less the same price all around the world. But cost does not translate into the value that you get from a service. A service like hiring an architect to design your home, or a service like a hair transplant. Why? Because here the cost is variable and the value proposition that you get from that cost is so different. Whereas the cost of a refrigerator is something that is tangible, something finite that remains the same, more or less. When it comes to the medical world, when it comes to services delivered by the healthcare industry, by a cosmetic surgeon or a hair transplant surgeon, the word value is more appropriate. What is the value you are going to get at the end of the day for the money that you're going to pay? Cost remains an ugly word when you apply cost to the skill, to the expertise, and personalized care offered by a professional surgeon. People often fail to understand what they're getting into when they seek a hair transplant. A hair transplant is once in a lifetime treatment. Your first hair transplant is going to set the course of the amount of hair you're going to have on your head in the years to come. It is an investment in your appearance, an investment into your self-confidence and long-term happiness, not a quick fix solution that you can get most anywhere. But this fetish of just seeking out the cost is not your fault. It's because some clinics have commoditized the hair transplant industry, hair transplant procedures. Since doctors no longer do the procedures themselves, they want to do low-cost procedures in a large number of clients to get more money than do one procedure a day and do the procedure themselves. And this stress on technique rather than skill, who will be doing the procedure on you on the day of the surgery, is an attempt at commoditizing the procedure of hair transplant, which you fail to understand. So in this video, let's understand the value you're going to get from a hair transplant you're seeking in India. A hair transplant is an art and a science. Each patient's balding pattern, each patient's donor area, graft availability, hair texture, facial aesthetics is different. No one person's condition is similar to the other. This requires the surgeon to tailor the procedure to individual needs. In this sense, a hair transplant is not merely a service, but a bespoke solution requiring precision, an acute understanding of hair anatomy, hair morphology, hair physiology, and the science of balding. In short, a commitment to excellence. So when you focus on cost, you risk undermining the value that comes with professional expertise. For the best surgeons offer more than just the surgery. They offer their years of education, hands-on experience, and most important, their ability to deliver results that will last a lifetime, as you can see in the link above. To better understand what goes into the pricing of a hair transplant, like has been covered in earlier videos, a link to which is above, let's break down some of the key factors that determine the cost. Number one, the surgeon's expertise. The most important factor is the experience of the doctor you choose, the reputation of the surgeon who's going to do your procedure. A highly skilled surgeon who has honed his art and skills over many decades, attended international training programs, and keeps abreast of the latest developments in the field will naturally charge more than someone who is less experienced or who has cut himself off from the world. The higher cost reflects their ability to deliver salubrious results through modern techniques. Results that look natural, results that stand the test of time. To understand this, see my long-term hair transplant results above. And next we go on to the clinic infrastructure. Advanced technology and state-of-the-art facilities ensure patient safety and optimal outcomes. Clinics that invest in the latest equipment maintain hygienic conditions, painstakingly sterilize their operation theaters, do not use reused material, equipment, and employ trained staff, highly skilled staff, always have higher overheads. They cannot compete in any way with clinics which operate using technicians, fly-by-night operators who come just for the surgery and you do not know who's going to be there for your procedure. So it is always very important to have trained staff that has been there with the clinic for a long period of time, staff on the payroll, not freelancers available on call. However, this slightly more expensive hair transplants are important for your peace of mind. Therefore, before signing up, always take a round of the clinic. Do not sign up for hair transplant online. See how clean the clinic is, see how busy the clinic is, how many cases are being done in a day. Is the doctor available for the case at hand or not? A hair transplant is a once-in-a-lifetime procedure, and it is so horrifying that patients choose clinics just by considering the cost the clinic is going to charge for the hair transplant, considering it as a commodity. Thirdly, the number of cases a day done at the clinic. Is the clinic that you're seeking a hair transplant from a hair mill? A surgeon who's doing cases himself will never be able to do one large case, or at the most one large case and a small case for the hairline, because he'll be inordinately tired. No one person can do so much surgery in one day. So if a clinic is doing more than 2 cases, more than 3 cases, sometimes 10 cases in a day, you can rest assured that the surgeon is just the face of the clinic. There are other people behind the curtains who are doing the hair transplant for him. It is just a money-making machine, nothing else. And then we come to the number of grafts. Mostly clinics charge by the graft. The number of grafts, unless it's a very extensive case and you get a package for it, because if you charge a person who's going to undergo 4,000 scalp grafts and 2,000 grafts or 3,000 grafts from the body, it'll be such a huge amount that you would rather buy a costly car instead. So in such cases, we give a package deal and we do not charge by the graft. But how do you ascertain that the number of grafts that were promised have been inserted into your scalp, into your recipient area, where that is where the reputation of the surgeon, of the clinic comes in? The surgical technique, the method used to do your procedure, whether it is generic FUE or an advanced form of FUE like direct hair implantation, like using implanter pens, in vivo preservation of grafts to decrease the out-of-body ischemia time, use of magnification during the hair transplant procedure, whether these are being employed or not. And also whether the doctor is doing FUE technique or FUE technique, because FUE is much more laborious for the doctor, back-breaking, and takes a long time. And this is the reason why FUE hair transplants are more costly in general than FUT hair transplants. And then the post-operative care and follow-up. Mostly we see that when you have paid the money, once the hair transplant is done, that's the end of your relationship with the clinic. A good hair transplant doctor or hair transplant clinic is one which follows up the patient for a long period of time. In my clinic, there are patients who have been following up with me intermittently for as long as 10 to 20 years. That is the commitment that a good clinic will give you, which a cheap clinic will never give you because they cannot afford to do so, because they are treating several patients. These follow-ups and added support that you get from the clinic are critical for long-term success. Over a period of time, those people who seek a cheap hair transplant realize that more important than hair transplant is the advice you get, the hotline you have to the surgeon who's operated upon you, who follows up upon you, who tweaks your medication as your balding develops, as your balding progresses. There's a doctor available whom you can speak to. Do you ever imagine? Do you ever think that a cheap hair transplant clinic will even remember your name? A mere hair transplant is not going to solve your woes, especially if the fire of male pattern baldness is still raging. So let your hair transplant be the end of your troubles, not the beginning. Remember, a hair transplant is an investment in your happiness. And when it comes to something as personal and as vital as your appearance, would you want to falter? Choosing the right hair transplant surgeon is of paramount importance for you. So choose correctly, invest in quality care for a lifetime of confidence. So that was the short talk for the day. Let me know if you have any questions about cost of hair transplant in India, about hair transplant, or any other topic related to hair loss treatment for men and women. For those who haven't subscribed, please do. It's a fervent request. Your engagement keeps the channel going. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day and God bless you.